Hi, Leo Scarborough here, the Buildsmith from Buildsmith Solutions. You are now on video 13 of the interactive workbook, which means that you've gone through your brief, how to find a designer, budget control, tender documents, contract. You've now just found your builder and you've got all of the contract information in place and you are now ready to start on site. Congratulations, you've made it this far. Everything you've done to date will make this a really easy and stress-free process, which is the whole point of building work. If you're going to do it, make sure it's happy and stress-free. So this is now the point where all you have to do is monitor the works, because you know what you're trying to achieve because you put it in a document. The contractor knows what you're trying to achieve because you've put it in a document. You know what the costs are. You know that there's no kind of cost gaps, or if there are cost gaps, you know what they are. And you've got all the information in terms of program, so you can monitor what the builder's doing in comparison to the program. You know what information you have to provide them with, plus you know when you're going to pay them and how much they're expecting. Now that may go forwards and backwards, and this is where this process comes in. This is monitoring. So this should be a very simple process of you have a meeting, your pre-start meeting, and you will outline start date, finish date, do's and don'ts, etc., etc. And that will produce a set of actions, so a set of minutes. Once you know what those actions are, you can then produce those into a weekly or bi-weekly or monthly meeting, normally in line with when you're going to pay the contractor, and you'll be able to understand what actions are still outstanding, whose actions they are, and then the timelines to get these resolved. So what I have is in the workbook is a template of what a meeting should look like in terms of pre-start and then entering meetings. Now you have to remember that having done all of your due diligence today and all of the information, you will have a contractor that understands health and safety, understands contracts, understands their responsibility, understands your responsibility. So all you need to do is monitor against that prescribed set of information. What work are they doing? Is it in accordance with the drawings? Is it in accordance with the specification? If it's not, why not? Is the project being run in a health and safety fashion? So I have a lot of questions in here in terms of health and safety, because it goes back to the Building Safety Act and CDM. It's your responsibility to make sure that this is a safe site. There are various things in there. One massive telltale is our toe protectors being used, our hard hats being used, and our high vis is being used. If somebody's up a scaffold with their top off and just a set of trainers on, it's probably not a safe site. Equally, there is a difference between tools being used on site. If you can see lots of trailing cables that have got a 3-pin plug, like you use at home, again, big no-no. If somebody goes through that, they're likely to be electrocuted. Now, there is something called a 110 volt transformer, which is a big yellow box and yellow cables, and it's got a great big socket on the end. Now, if they're using them, it probably means it's a reasonably safe site. Again, check that it's tidy, check that people are doing health and safety, check that all of the health and safety, the risk assessments and method statements are in place, make sure they're being used in accordance with them, because one of the questions here is a yes or no. It's a question to you. It says, as the client under CDM, should the site be closed down due to health and safety concerns? Yes or no? And that is part of the entering meeting. So do not take your responsibilities lightly. This is a chance for you to monitor what the builder's doing in comparison to what you've got in the documents, and is it safe, because it's your responsibility. Now, if you've done the tender process correct, you should have a really helpful builder that you really align with and really get on. Equally, you should have a really good designer that you align with and really get on. And everybody should be working collaboratively. So now is the chance to monitor the works and make sure everything's being undertaken correctly. When it comes to the final completion stage of the project, you'll know this is happening because you'll be monitoring it against the program. And what you then need to do is make sure that the contractor, towards the end of the project, gives you all of the relevant certificates. Now, this will be led by building control, but it includes electrical test certificate, gas safe certificate, fencer certificate if required, any kind of Legionella's testing if you're working in a school or a public environment. As built drawings, you should be talking to the contractor and the designer about residual risks. An example of that would be if you've got a really high level window, how do you clean it? If you've got a really high level set of like lamps or lights, how do you change the light bulb safely? So they're residual risks. You should have operation and maintenance manuals. You should have any test reports or emergency procedures, all to go into a file that's given to you at the end. Now, when you have gone through all of this kind of interim meetings, you're coming towards the end, you've got all your paperwork, now is the time to look at the snagging list. So prior to works completing, you need to have the opportunity as an employer with the contractor to go around the project and take the document you first had at tender or contract and the drawings and go through and make sure the workmanship is up to scratch. Now, do read the ebook because there's a lot more information on that, about that in there. What is a snag, what's not a snag, what you can pull the contractor up for, what you can't pull the contractor up for. It's all laid out in the ebook. So please use this time to monitor the project correctly. This should be the really nice, simple, easy bit because you've done already all the hard work. You shouldn't have to be making decisions on a daily basis or hourly basis. It should be a completely stress-free experience. So if you've got any questions at all, click the link below, go through to the website, see how you can interact with us and see if we can answer any of your questions. Cheers.